morning, world. Another day in La La Land. Merca. United Snakes of America. Morning, United Snakes.
Okay, so today, Roger has done another application of sacred geometry to the Serpent Rock that was filmed by Carl Crusher.
Little Black Mountain.
Right, and he actually he did the 3D animation. He did a sacred geometry onto the 3D animation.
Carl did a 3D scan of it and he put it on the screen, and all I did was I took the 3D animation and I used my animation techniques of bilateral symmetry of totem pole art and applied it to his 3D scanning. And then when we combined the two, it actually shows you really what's inside of these petroglyphs, what's really in these stones, or what's really in our ancient art, period. And it gives you an idea that we're approaching the whole thing of petroglyphs in the wrong route. We should be looking at it multidimensionally, up, down, sideways, and all this like I'm going to show you here. That's what modern man is stuck on, just seeing one static page that's always constant. Our artwork isn't constant, as you'll see here. This is the technique of bilateral symmetry applied totem pole art. It's different than my totem pole art from the northwest coast up there. It's just applying that to this, and I can see what the people here have put into their ancient art, because it's no different than my totem pole art up there from the northwest coast. Bilateral symmetry, bilateral symmetry. It's a language. Maybe the southwest people forgot it, but we haven't. It's very active. It's called totem pole art from where I'm at. We have it on every totem pole, every canoe, every basket, anything we could put our hands on. We pretty much put bilateral symmetry into everything. And that's all this is bilateral symmetry. Like this right here, what people don't understand is that with this, you can actually find the spiritual entity that resides within this thing. Like, everybody's looking at the surface, but they don't realize is that with this technique, you can lift the stone up and you can see who's underneath it. See the eyes are right there, and there's a face forming right here. Now watch, you'll see the face form when I turn it back on, and you'll see the eyes appear right about there. There's the entity. That's the entity that's residing underneath that stone. And that face right here is reflected in that serpent face up there. See that petroglyph? That's that. That represents that.
Kind of looks like a crown too.
It is. There's some kind of spiritual entity that resides within that area. And I also got a called Little Bloom petroglyphs, which is near Little Black Mountain. I got from a source that's on our subscribers to our YouTube channel. He claims that this place that this is located near is so sacred that it scared the Mormons, because when the natives would pass over the river, they always would stop and pray at this one particular rock, and it scared the heck out of the Mormons enough that they put it in record and documented it, that every time the Indians go by this one certain place, they'd always pray to this rock once crossing the river. And so there's some other...
They probably fenced it off too, so people wouldn't do that.
Well, what they're praying to is this entity that I showed you right here. It's one of these entities that are guardians of the river or guardians of nature that are there in that area. They know it's there. White man don't know it's there because they don't know how to look at this thing. See, that face is connected to that petroglyph up here. That's what's showing you what's here. The ancients knew how to make it in bilateral symmetry to show the eye, the eye, the eye, the eye, the fangs, the fangs, the fangs. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just showing you in petroglyphic form what's underneath that boulder. That is that. That is that.
So it's a serpent You know, and that serpent symbolism is throughout the Americas in different ways.
Some kind of special association with various serpents. Serpents of the rivers, serpents of the mountains, serpents of the forest. I mean, seems to be serpents of everything. Serpents of the canyon, serpents of the mountains. They're everywhere. But anyway, this is kind of what the art is really meant to be viewed as. There's a big face right here. Those are the eyes. There's the nostrils, and I'm pointing my finger at. You'll see the eyes. They'll actually open and look.
Oh, so that brown thing in front is your fingers pointing.
Yeah, pointing at the eyes. And when I pointed at the eyes, they opened and looked at me. It does it too in the corner over here too. Real lightly over there. There. So there's something coming out of this thing that is letting me know it's there. Saying, I'm right here, ha ha ha. He even blinked at me and opened up his eyes when I was pointing at it. I think this rock likes me.
Well, like you said, totem pole art, the application of sacred geometry.
Well, it recognizes that I know that it's there. While the rest of the American Indians wander around and still scratching their butts and their heads wondering what it is.
So you can take this process and apply it to any petroglyph, any ancient architecture, any ancient piece of art or architecture.
Globally. It works for all Europe, works for Asia, it works for America, it works for Australia, it works for all of it. Okay. We just forgot.
And then you... Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Well, that'd be good for me.